All right, everyone, going to be breaking down the prop bets for the Sunday Night Football matchup between the New York Football Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go in and get into it. So just real quickly, I do like to start off with kind of just showing the sportsbook view. This is going to be from the Odds Jam sportsbook page. I like it. It gives us basically everything that we want. We can see all the different numbers that we are getting across sportsbooks. We can also see the average sportsbook line that we are getting as well, or the best odds. Okay, so 45 is the over and under with the Dallas Cowboys, 3.4 dogs. Okay, now that's not really going to do enough to change any of the prop bets that I want to be on today. That just really tells me that this is going to be a close game, which should mean game flow and whatnot is not going to dictate too much of the bets that we're going to be on. Now, it is worth noting that Darren Waller currently questionable. He's expected to play, but it is a hamstring injury. We have already seen a lot of players get ruled out in week one with hamstring injuries. With Darren Waller's injury history, I wouldn't be too shocked to see him get ruled out, which obviously would then elevate basically all the other New York Giants pass catchers. That's a risk. He is expected to play as well. That's the reports coming out, but it wouldn't be shocking to see him sit. And then on the other side of the football, the Dallas Cowboys, there is not going to be really anyone significant that's going to be out in terms of fantasy production. So let's go ahead and get into the slate. And so while we are on the Odds Jam Optimizer, let's just take a peek at which props it sees as the best ones today. And all right, we got Michael Gallup for under 3 receptions. I would say that kind of correlates with Brandon Cooks maybe having a good game, or CeeDee Lamb having a really good game as well. We'll see here Darius Slayton under receptions as well. Once again, if Darren Waller's ruled out, I would actually say that has a better chance of hitting the over. But that's the same. That's what we are seeing here, is that a lot of the unders are being favored on PrizePicks via the Odds Jam Optimizer, and then maybe Tony Pollard for over receptions. Let's just take a peek real quickly at the underdog fantasy now. Anything that we should be looking at there, basically the same props. So we can see that. You guys know by now I hate betting the under, so let's try to find some over bets that we can make. And so now switching up, getting into my NFL PrizePicks score, fantasy score, props. It's just prop sheet. Tony Pollard for over receiving yards is kind of an interesting one here, and that's just going to be because we see the projection, we see the sports books. They're giving it about a 50-50 split for him to get 20.2 for receiving yards, whereas PrizePicks has the line set at 18.5. We can see the line for underdog is probably better at 20.5, but that is a slight edge that we are getting on the slate. Receiving yards for Darius Slayton. Okay, it's interesting, right? We saw those receptions ones as ones we might not want to be on via the Odds Jam Fantasy Optimizer, but now we are seeing that maybe we want to be targeting some of the over for receiving yards. Darius Slayton's going to be one of those guys. He'd be someone that does get a bump if Darren Waller is ruled out, or maybe not playing as much as he's expected to play. Darius Slayton is expected to start along with Paris Campbell and Isaiah Hodgins. But we are seeing here, guys, nothing too crazy in terms of an edge for any of these props. Now, I do want to take a peek at the fantasy score props specifically to see if we are getting any sort of edge. And what I really want to see is the difference between underdog and PrizePicks, because we had a free square on the main slate essentially where J.K. Dobbins had a higher fantasy score on underdog than he did on PrizePicks. And why is that significant? Because underdog is half point PPR and PrizePicks is not. So I was kind of curious to see if we're getting any of those. We are not. And the reason why the 95% here is so low is because the sports books for a lot of these guys, we're not getting the full allotment of what would go into the projection, like a receiving TD or a rushing TD or receptions. We're not getting that full allotment for a lot of these guys except for the quarterbacks. And we can see probably correct for the fantasy scores, but we are kind of seeing this game that is going to be a fun game to watch. A lot of the fantasy scores are probably looking like under bets that we want to be rolling with. So let's go ahead and try to find some prop bets that we can go in on. We already saw that we're probably looking at a lot of those under bets, unfortunately, right? I don't love targeting under bets. But let's just go through it. Like Brandon Cooks would be one of the players I actually wouldn't be shocked to see have a really good game. Just kind of the secondary option, opposite side of CeeDee Lamb, who I love CeeDee Lamb as a talent. I would say the receptions props for Brandon Cooks does seem to be a little bit too low. I would probably pencil him in to get 4. That being said, if we are looking at all these under bets hitting, right, I do think these offenses are going to be able to get down the field. A kicking prop would not be a terrible, and I don't like it, would not be a terrible route to go. It scored the same as DraftKings, so maybe 2 40-yarders here, an extra point or something. I don't know. I don't love that idea, but we could do it. And then from there, I know that the receptions prop for CeeDee Lamb was set as looking like the under is the route to go. He basically averaged 10 targets per game last season with the Cowboys. And sure, that was with some of their pass catchers banged up and whatnot. But I would say this has a great chance to be a push. And maybe, do we have any target props for him? I was wondering that. I would say, I don't want to do fantasy score too much. 6 receptions, 70 yards or so. We're baking in a possibility of a touchdown here. I want to bet on him because I think he's going to be the player that has the best game. And maybe it's, maybe it's this, but I think this has a great chance to be a push as well. So PrizePicks is doing a good job today. So a lot of you guys don't know this. I was interviewing with PrizePicks to potentially be a part of their marketing department because I saw, this was a year ago now, I saw the popularity in it and how much it was growing, and I kind of want to be a part of it. One of the ideas of mine that they're implementing now on Twitter is kind of highlighting the most popular bets for the day on their Twitter post, and I honestly think they took that from me. I bet one of the most popular posts that we're going to see on their Twitter feed is going to be Dak Prescott for over INTs. Like, here's an example post, right? They're just doing that now. But I bet Dak is going to be one of those ones. And looking at it last year against New York, he did have 2 interceptions against them. So maybe there is something there. Now, the one that I was really hoping that we would get the most was probably a Jake Ferguson prop for this game in terms of receptions. We're not. I do think he's basically Dalton Schultz 2.0. I think he's going to be heavily involved in this offense. So, if we are trying to find a prop bet, I would probably go for an over. Probably Jake Ferguson for over 27.5 for receiving yards. And now we scroll down here to kind of just the Giants now. We can see we got Darren Waller here for fantasy score prop. Let's just sort by the biggest producers here. So Darren Waller, 4 receptions. I would say, guys, if he is playing the full allotment of snaps, he would be able to get over 4 receptions. We don't know that. We don't know how much he's going to play. So we did see Darius Slayton being one of the ones in which, over receiving yards. And this is weird. I don't get why that's been happening for them. 2-yard difference, right? That's interesting. Weird. But yeah, I could see Darius Slayton, playing a little bit more. The one player that I kind of like the most in this game is actually Paris Campbell. And I like the fact that we were getting a low number on him. During the preseason, he was productive with them. There did seem to be some sort of chemistry there. So 2.5 receptions for Paris Campbell would be one. Granted, I think we're forcing in there, but I don't mind it. And at the same time, we do have receiving yards we could roll with as well. Like, both of those could coincide there. We have Isaiah Hodgins here, who, was a sweet spot for us in NFL DFS last season. I don't love any of those. That feels like we're forcing it as well. And then Sterling Shepard, I was kind of curious if we're going to get any props for him or not. So let's go ahead and take a peek at Saquon. Yeah, Saquon Barkley, it's tough. It's like, honestly, probably the best one would be just him scoring a touchdown. But once again, feels like we're forcing it. So let's go ahead and get into my favorite bets. You guys know I like targeting overs. If you loved any of those under bets, by all means, go ahead and make those bets. I don't know. I feel like I have a better eye for the over bet. Just how the brain works. So let's go ahead and get into the bets of the day for this slate. And I already mentioned this on the NFL DFS video that I put out there. Not going heavy on this game at all. Okay, this is going to be very light. I'm going to enjoy watching it. Don't feel the need to be sweating it betting. And so here we go. Here's the bet of the day for that game. Once again, not going too heavily on it. Now, because we don't have that many good bets, let's just go ahead and show you guys a couple of the best bets that are available today in general. If you guys want to go ahead and pair it with maybe the discounts that are going to be out there. We saw Joe Burrow discount, which is looking like it's not going to hit, and Jalen Hurts discount, which is currently live as I'm recording this. We might get one for Sunday Night Football, and we could find some props to pair with that. So let's go and take a peek at that. All right, so looking at it right now, Quay Walker. I don't know about that. Come on, go Pack, go. And I actually do like this one. Kyler Gordon, really good linebacker or defensive player for the Chicago Bears. Probably be live by the time we're getting there, unfortunately. A lot of these will be. So it's like Garrett Wilson under 6 receptions tomorrow. You could roll with that. Michael Gallup, once again, we got some of those ones. So we kind of get it. All the biggest props that we have right now are these NFL ones. So, oh, wow, here we go. And sadly, all the MLB games are live as well. Let's see if we have any discrepancies to go off of. Nothing too crazy, but, this would probably be the route that we could go. So obviously betting the over for this prop for shots attempted. Then we got an under bet here. Just comparing these to Underdog, that could be a route that we could go. But that is going to be all for today's video. If you guys want access to the Odds Jam, Optimizer, or Sportsbook View, link to that is in the description below. Make sure to use the promo code 905, get 25% off. If you guys want access to my cheat sheets, it's available for just $10 a month. Link in the description below for that as well. All right, let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cashing.